few years ago, I witnessed an atrocious incident, and I've been haunted by it ever since. I told this story many times to numerous people, but no one ever believes me. Basically, I ran into an alien. I know, it sounds incredibly stupid, but listen to this. He was invisible, and the reason why I lost all my hair. No matter what anyone says, I still believe they are real, and that they are among us. That day, me and my two best friends, Brian and Chloe, were playing video games at Chloe's house. The weather forecast indicated that there would be no rain for the next few days. I was really glad and relieved to hear that because I planned a short trip. However, that same night, around 8 p.m., lightning hit from all sides, and torrential rains began to pour down in buckets. The rainfall was so intense, we worried about Chloe's glass windows and feared they might explode under the pressure. Outside, a long bolt of lightning suddenly hit a large tree up on the hill, causing it to burst into flames immediately, despite the heavy rain. Smoke and fire illuminated the sky, and we were scared, kind of hypnotized by the formidable scene. Our curiosity was piqued, and we decided to run toward the hill to take a closer look. We knew that such rare phenomenons might attract tens of thousands of viewers on YouTube, and therefore I saw an opportunity, so I quickly grabbed my camera before storming outside. Sorry about that. Poor choice of words, I guess. Ever the cautious type that I am, I took a small fire extinguisher along with me, just in case I needed to bash some monster over the head. As we got closer to the burnt tree, we discovered that there was a large and deep hole next to it, with smoke still rising from the ashes. But a weird shape was emerging from behind the smoke. We all quietly crept closer and closer to the object of our attention when Brian suddenly exclaimed, "Guys, we just made a huge discovery. I'll bet you it's an alien spaceship." Anyway, we all ran toward the strange vehicle excitedly, and the closer we got, the more we realized this ship was extremely large. It had a very elaborate and intricate design, very futuristic, and could only be the creation of an alien civilization. Inside the ship, we found large metal trunks, furniture, and walls covered with buttons and lights. Everywhere, slimy goo dripping down the walls and off the ceiling, and it gathered in small pools on the floor. As we got deeper, we saw glass jars filled with bizarre creatures. In one corner, there was a large, transparent tube that was sucking whole trees out of the earth right outside. Were these guys collecting samples of the Earth's natural resources? We moved slowly and cautiously while looking around, but Brian suddenly screamed. When I turned around, I saw him being lifted up in the air by maybe a tractor beam or some invisible force and being thrown into the chair in the center of the spaceship. Panicked and yelling, Chloe and I tried to pull Brian from his seat when all of a sudden, all the objects inside the spaceship began to vibrate. I mean, violently, before floating in the air. They came and formed this menacing circle, like a cyclone spinning all around us. They all seemed to be controlled by some mysterious force. But when we looked around, there was still no sign of anything or anyone. We were all trembling and shivering in fear, our faces covered in sweat, and Chloe and I, well, she was so scared. There's no polite way to say that she peed in her pants. As I looked around in fear, I held that fire extinguisher tightly, and without thinking, I instinctively began spraying those floating objects, kind of like dust or orbs, circling around us. Even though I knew it wouldn't really do anything, I still felt safer trying something as opposed to nothing at all. All those objects were soon wet and still floating about, but a strange thing happened and appeared right in front of my eyes. I should say right in front of our eyes. The foam bubbles from the fire extinguisher unintentionally covered the surroundings of those human-like creatures and revealed their silhouettes. However, they were much taller than the average human beings. There were tentacles that came out of this creature and began coiling and squeezing around us to the point of sudden respiratory failure. I had accepted my death when suddenly a very powerful light hit me. As I began floating, I was levitating into thin air. I must have been unconscious after that. When I woke up, all three of us were lying under the burnt tree. Our hair had been cut off, and the deep hole, as well as the spaceship, had completely disappeared without a trace. I quickly woke my two friends up, asking them what happened. But both of them looked at me blankly, like a deer in the headlights. They didn't understand what I was saying or what I was referring to. They didn't remember anything at all. It was as if their memories were completely erased. To this day, I still cannot understand why I'm the only one who can remember anything. Am I the one chosen one? Somehow did the aliens want me in particular to know about their existence? You may think I'm a bit crazy, but I do believe that aliens are truly among us, and not just one, but a few, maybe many. Maybe they're invisible, or maybe they look just like us while they prepare to take over planet Earth. There are frequencies beyond our human senses that remain unseen and unheard. The next time you see a dark shadow moving past your peripheral vision, beware.
You may be experiencing a dark